button now, so I'll see if it turns up.
No worries.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 9 of the East Coast V8 series, coming to you live from the one and only Road Atlanta. Welcome, NATO.
Good evening, John, and hello, everyone. How are we all?
Good, mate. Very good. And yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm ready for my Tuesday night fix of racing, I am.
Well, Benny Anthony has cut us 5 minutes short tonight, so we might just move quickly into things. So we might just start off by having a quick look at this Road Atlanta track. And it is a interesting up and down undulating circuit. And we have the start-finish straight on the left-hand side, where we sort of sweep up in the right-hand corner up to the top of the hill to turns 3 and 4, where turn 4 is a nice little tight right-hander across the crest, where we drop down through the Yeses complex up to turn 5 or 6, where we then sweep up a hill where it's very difficult to make sure you keep control of the car. And then after that, we then sweep up into the rear 2 corners, up the far part of the track, which is really one of the slowest corners on the circuit as you come up the hill there. And then we've got this long straightaway with 2 turns in it, which spits us out at the 10A and 10B complex, which will be the spot to look for most of the overtaking tonight. Then we sweep up out of 10B, up over the crest, and a blind corner again as we come down into the last turn onto the start-finish straight. She's a tight, quick, twisty little track, Nath.
Yeah, it's certainly nowhere near as long as the other road track we were at last week, but it's certainly got plenty to it, and it's a very technical track. Like it's kind of good when you're driving on this track to have such a big, long back straight, because you get a little bit of a break. But as for the rest of the track, it certainly puts all your skills and your car control to the test, it does.
Oh, absolutely. And just the thing to note, have a look at that record lap time, a 1 minute 17.925 from the one and only Alta-Seas driver, James Scott. And that leads me into the championship. Let's have a look. Have a quick look at the leaderboard on the championship. Blake Warboys back in front on 1374 with James McKnight on 1362. So still a very tight battle at the front of this grid. And then Harrison Dengates fought his way back up still, just chomping at the bit behind the boys on 1301, and only just 6 points ahead of Christian Smart on 1295, Michael Dumbrell 1279, Scotty McCune 1267, Rob Carmichael a further point back on 1266, Paul Young from PRA, so a big shout out to our PRA contingent. And that's Paul sitting there with 1209, and then 1205 Andrew Archer and Michael Stewart on 1192. She's very tight, that top 10, and she's very tight all the way through. It's been an epic performance by all these boys so far as we continue to go on through this round.
Yeah, they're all showing that it's still anyone's game, and that whilst they're putting in their best efforts the whole way through, that anything can happen in these races, and it is sort of evenly happening across everyone. Everyone's doing a great job at trying to stay at that pointy end. And we can see it in the result of the championship. There's still no runaway people, still no runaway contenders. So it'll be very good to see how the second half of the season goes.
Look, it's going to be very intriguing to see. And don't forget, we're going to culminate with our final race, the Bathurst 500. That's 500 kilometres solo drive. It's going to be a tough effort by a lot of these guys. I'm really looking forward to see whether that event crowns our champion.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to be... I'm tipping I'm going to hit the big championship button nice and early. I'm tipping that Bathurst 500 will be the final race that dictates who wins our championship. I don't think these boys are going to sort it out before then.
Let's take the opportunity now to have a quick look at the grid. And I've got the wrong roundup, so I apologise for that. And if you have a look, James Scott is back, the Altus East champion, the man who holds the lap record at this circuit. Mind you, his qualifying time was a second slower, so hopefully that's not a sign that he's slowing up. But James has finished his esports duties with Supercar, and he's back with us on a Tuesday night. And in second place is Blake Warboys, Christian Smart in third, McKnight fourth, fifth Logan Barnett, another new driver. And then Paul Young from PRA in sixth. Great effort from the PRA champion there. And then we've got the first of our fishy boys with Michael Whiting back in seventh, Rob Carmichael in eighth, Michael Dumbrell from Hypersonic in ninth, Hypersonic Michael Stewart in 10, 11 Scotty McEwen from Hypersonic, and then after that we've got Nathan Gore. The next lot, we've got Daryl Shannon's back this week, Andrew Archer, Frank Hodak, Harrison Dengate, Ash Barella in 17, Blair in 18, Craig Roffey in 19, Timmy Nichols is back for Pecky Performance Racing in 20th, Nicholas Loveridge in 21st, and keep working down that grid there. We've got Troy Sipple, Darren Crosby, Shane Roffey in 24th, and we've got Nathan Cook, Ryan Van Ree in 26th, Toddy Martin in 27 from Scorpion Esports, Paul Hayes in 28, Pecky from Pecky Performance Racing in 29, Troy Maguire starting from the back of the grid with Steve Kennedy at the back of the grid and Tyrone Anderson at the back of the grid. Troy Kennedy from Fishy Motorsports, he'll be the one to watch here, I reckon, trying to fight his way back through, Nath.
Yeah, I reckon there's going to be a few big movers as well, because this track certainly, like last week at Road America, this track certainly does bring out the viewer's pleasure, shall I say, is one wording for it. But it's a very action-packed track, so whilst the drivers are trying to do what we were talking about earlier and put everything into it to keeping the cars straight, you start passing each other, and it just naturally brings a little bit of chaos. So we'll see how well these guys deal with it tonight, and see what happens during the next race.
Will be very interesting as we run through here, looking at how we're going to go. A few little technical difficulties. Boys are taking the grid still. Looks like we've had a 3-minute grid session tonight, which is nice. Ben's given me that extra minute, considering he's heard we're probably running late. I have heard that there may be some confusion going on in that box today. They've actually got a special guest in race control. So a big congratulations to Mr. Trump jumping in there with the boys.
Yes, so I did hear that they got a new recruit tonight, so it's fantastic to see him jump on board.
And I think we're about to go shortly as we come to the end of our grid time. And
motors are revving.
Turn one.
Green flag.
And we are racing.
We've
We've got a staller at the back.
On the back, staller.
I think he's managed to get going now without being taken out. Someone on the grass back there, but that's okay. As expected, James Scott from Altus East has taken off with a good start. Blair nicely filing in behind. And James McKnight, Jamie's had a cracking start there as well to jump up into third, with Logan Barnett in fourth. But it's the Altus East driver of James Scott coming through the S's, leading us down to the back part of the complex of the race circuit for the first time. And it has been a good start by everybody by the looks, apart from I think it was Daryl Shannon with the incident on the start line of stalling. I think everyone has gotten through so far safely and cleanly, which is very exciting to see.
Yeah, it's always great to see these boys make it through so that everyone can hopefully make it to the end of the race. So hopefully not too much damage from that stall car for the people that were involved. But yes, we are halfway through this lap and it's all going well so far, touch wood.
And as to be expected, James has cleared out to a 1 second lead already.
So I reckon Blake will be doing everything he can to be getting into that tow and trying to outsave the fuel-saving man behind him, Mr. McKnight.
Absolutely, that is where the battle is. We've got to remember James is sitting well back in the competition at the moment, due to being, as I said before, at the E-Series. But he's fighting. He'll definitely come back with a vengeance here, I think, and drive really well.
Yeah, the calibre and the standard of racing that he would have had to have been doing just to compete with those guys, to bring it back here and put it to the test with all the other East Coast boys, it's a great showing from all competitors really. It's a carrot for Blake and Jamie and the guys up the front to try and get James, and it's good for James to come in and do some laps and get some good consistency happening. So it's fantastic to see.
Of course, James used to drive for United Sim Sport with Jamie, so they all know each other quite well, these two. That's a commanding performance. Blake's trying his best to catch, Jamie sitting back, and Paul Young up into 4th. That is a cracker. Big shout out to Roy Clark if you're watching, mate. Your boy's doing really well. Jump on the chat and say good day and let us know what you think. And of course, Paul Young's got Michael Whiting, Christian Smart, Rob Carmichael and Michael Dumbrell all bunching up behind. So this is pretty much where our battle is. Jamie McKnight just behind Warboys, and James Scott just set a new best lap time of 1:19.1. So considering they're on full tanks, just getting into the pattern of the race, that's a cracking time.
Yes, it certainly is. To be down to those sorts of times already, and to be in a 19 in general, it's very, very good from these guys.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be very impressed. Very, very impressed.
Yeah, we haven't had as many movers as what I was sort of anticipating.
Hold position, please.
Let's have a look.
Here.
Yep, go have a look, see what's going on here. Oh, that's Tyrone Anderson up in there in the replay, not looking in too great a shape there. So it looks like he's probably popped his engine. So we'll go back to live pictures and see. Have a look.
Car 69, we are having issues with our safety car at the moment, so once the leader has parked on track, you are clear to tow.
And I'm having issues too, because SDK has just decided not to come back onto the screen. Okay.
Car is on the right side.
Technical
of the
issues
for
everyone tonight.
Yes. I'll hit that button again. Nothing happening. Hit that button, hit that button, hit that button. Just bear with us, everybody, while we sort this out.
Yeah, having a look through the field, I think... Oh, sorry, a few technical issues with a cough catching up to me there. Troy Maguire is our big mover so far to go from 31st place up to 23rd, so that's a great start that he's had there. Stephen Kennedy, a few spots back, has gone from 32nd to 27th, so another good chunk of spots that he's gained up there. Craig Roffey is a guy that's gone from 20th to 14th. Who else have we got? Everyone else is very... Nathan Cook gone from 26th to 19th. But yeah, everyone else sort of above that is sitting in a very similar spot to where they started this race. So shows that standard of racing certainly increasing. Yeah, I reckon one big factor that will happen tonight as well, Johnny, with having a track that's much shorter compared to Road America last week, lapped traffic is going to be another big key factor in tonight.
Sorry, Nathan, didn't mean to go up that side of you, but you're fucking out of control.
With how tight and narrow and undulating this track is, even for a lapped car and for a well-experienced front-running car, it is tricky to get by and keep up that race momentum and that race pace. So.
Back to live pictures. Yeah, Ben, I've just had some SDK issues, but back to live pictures, everybody. So out on track at the moment, we have James Scott doing a magnificent job leading everybody. I think he's now out to a fairly substantial lead. So he'd be relatively happy with how he's going. I'm just waiting for SDK to start loading back in. We'll just about be back to live pictures in a second. Back to live pictures. Darren Crosby back in the M1 Racing livery tonight, which is good to see. Big shout out to those boys. And we go back to our race leader, Mr. Scott. And he is still now cleared out to a fairly substantial lead. He's got a 4.5 second lead over Blake Warboys, who has Jamie McKnight right behind him. So Jamie's probably playing that waiting game now, Nath. I reckon he'd be sitting in there. And
I reckon Mr. Fuel Saver is doing exactly that, saving fuel.
I reckon that could be the case too. Let's have a bit of a flick back through the pack. We'll go back to Paul Young. Great little epic battle here. Look at this. He's got Christian Smart's work managed to get past Paul here. Logan Bennett on the move as well. And Rob Carmichael in the middle there as well. But interesting spots to see.
Yeah, they're ducking and weaving everywhere. You just beat me to it. These boys have been given a red hot go to see who can lead this train. Fantastic to see.
Absolutely, they're really doing very well. And just so you're aware, Nathan, our track gains are out of alignment because we had to reset, so we'll have to go off your judgments here on what's happening with that.
No worries, I'll give it a red hot go, we will.
Yeah, at the moment I've got James Scott up 28 spots, which I don't think is the case. Anyway, so as we start to settle in to this race, 6 laps down of 62, so only a tenth of the race distance gone. We're still going. We've got a lovely train here with Whiting, Smart, Paul Young, Rob Carmichael, Logan Barnett. So Logan, as we said, is new to the series tonight. So he's running the Hobbs Trench and Boring. I think Logan's been around for a little while. I've seen him in quite a few races. I believe he was in another series that I raced in a fair while ago. Big shout out to Mark Dial, shrugging his shoulders. We're trying our best, guys. And Matty Mascot. Matty, I reckon we should be seeing you in this series, mate. I reckon this would be a good series for you. Always loved racing against you and watching you drive, mate. And everyone else that's watching, thank you for sticking with us during our technical difficulties.
Just in case you thought we were getting close to those P plates, Johnny.
Yeah.
We keep throwing.
Wobbly.
Yeah, we're providing different forms of entertainment each week. That's all we're doing, and coaching points for anyone that was questioning.
No maybes, Matty. You're here when we come back after the break, mate. Now let's have a bit of a look back through the field. As these boys are still all bunched up and battling quite well behind Michael Whiting here. And we might just move down the field a little bit. Ryan Van Reed is pushed up a little bit from what I can see from where he started. Chasing his brother Blair in front of him.
Ryan's been the mover. He's gone up from 27th to 22nd. Blair's dropped 2 spots, but I mean, brotherly love there. I'm sure Ryan's not going to be showing any love lost to Blair. He'll be wanting that spot.
And just to answer your question, Mr. Dial, I'm under legal obligations not to say anything about that.
Yeah, it's look, I've learned over the journey to pick my battles, and I'll jump on the same boat there as you there, Johnny.
And a big shout out to Wendy if you're watching. And going through the field, we'll jump back. Troy Sipple is doing really well in the Quantum Solutions livery for Scorpions Esports. So big shout out to Mick Rush and the boys. Looks like he hasn't got the spec map on there that they usually run, but it's still a great looking livery.
Yeah, it doesn't matter sort of what it is, spec map, no spec map. It is a good looking car, isn't it?
That's right. And then behind him we have Steve Kennedy from M1 Motorsport, M1 Racing. He's worked his way up the field quite well, and he seems to be doing quite good from starting at the back. Paul Hayes, another one of the Scorpion boys, working his way through the field here. And Shane Roffey back behind them. So that's another fairly tight bunch. Shane's trying to join on the back of. And we've got a 10-point post-race penalty for Darren Crosby for contact with Nathan Cook on lap 6. So I'm wondering whether it might be this incident. I'm not game enough to try the replay, but let's see. He's going off track there. That looks like the remnants of what happened. Might just jump to another one here. And I'm not getting much luck on that lap 6 incident. So we'll go back to live pictures. And it came back. Rather scary stuff.
Well, we take the small wins where we can get it.
We will. So I'm wondering what's going on in race control. Kind of wondering whether we've got somebody putting on a bit of magic in there. So let's have a look what's going on, what's Ben got going on in there. Well, looks
What
like,
these boys are up to, man.
looks like Trumpy's sprinkling a bit of magic on this, so might start to expect some more penalties to come shortly.
Yeah, well, as we all know, once Trump gets on a roll, anything is possible.
So James Scott now, jump back to the front, he's out to a 10-second gap from Warboys and McKnight. So these two are still going toe-to-toe, the old protagonists from the series, 1 and 2 in the championship. So of course...
Yeah, and looking at the times between these top three, so you've got Scott who's done a 19.9 again, and then Blake and Jamie behind respectively have done a 1 minute 20.8 and a 1 minute 20.9, so I reckon these two boys will be doing everything they can to try and make up what time they can during the pit stops to see if they can catch James all the way out with his lead.
Jamie's still trying to run Blake down. Might just go back and check on the Paul Young, Logan Barnett group.
They're a really big freight train, these guys, at the moment. They're all sort of settled down a little bit, it has, but they're, yeah, even though it may have settled down, as we've seen in previous weeks, these early stages of just save fuel, save fuel, save fuel is everyone's number one priority. Get that track position and then save what fuel you can. Make that pit stop as short as possible.
Let's do a lap with Paul. As we go into turn 1, you can see that corner's very sweeping uphill here. Come up hard on the brakes down into second gear. Turn right over that slightly blind crest. Feather our way down the hill as we come down into the S's. Get on the gas, ride the throttle, bang it on the curbs, bang it on the curb. Bang on the curb, hard on the brakes, second, quick change up the third. Watch it as it goes over the rise. He's watching the car in front slip from Logan Barnett. Get on the gas. If you're quick enough, you might be able to stick it up the inside here, but Logan couldn't. And you ride it through the turn. Then quickly hard on the brakes. One of the slower corners of the circuit. Round, got to get this exit spot on. You've got a long straight in front of it. You don't want to come out slow because they'll get away in front of you. And then as we now start to roll out, on the accelerator, it's not dead straight, so you've got to be careful of cars moving from side to side on the circuit. Then we come down to the turn A, 10B, and we jump hard on the brakes here. Another good overtaking spot there. Cut the corner slightly, cut it again, come up. This is the blind corner over the ridge. Beautifully done. Come back, turn 1, ride it through, use a little bit of curb, then get through. So that is a lap of Road Atlanta, 1 minute 20. Thanks for coming.
Yep, and then they go around and they do it another 62 times they do tonight. So it's certainly up there with one of our higher number lapped races throughout the series, but it's certainly, apart from obviously Bathurst, but it's certainly, yeah, there's certainly going to be some tired drivers tonight, I reckon, by the time this race is done. Got tired just watching you do the onboard footage.
Yeah, you don't get much of a break. You really only get a break on that one long back straight, and that's about it. As you can see, Harrison Dengate's moved up into 10th now, so he's working his way back. Young Harrison with Scotty McCune behind him and Michael Stewart, so keeping in front of the two hypersonic cars. And we might just have a quick look back, have a look at Nathan Gore. Nathan doing really well. He's under a bit of pressure though. He's got Loveridge, Archer and Hodak right behind. So there's a few battles everywhere tonight. It's a little bit difficult to work out where to look, to be honest.
Yeah, there are. All these guys seem to be really good at doing that to us. They're all very good at all battling at the same time and having us darting around where should we look and who should we follow. But fantastic racing to see though. Yeah, we've still got a few.
Whoa, they're off!
Oh,
Nathan Gore. Yeah. That's not what you want to see. Trying to get the car back on the track there.
riders, I was about to say, Nicholas Loveridge has come up from 22nd to 15th. They had that big moment, so I don't know if that counts as commentator's curse or not, but I think I got away with that one there. But it's still not what you want to see. Or a couple spots behind now after that, so really important for these two now to get back into a little bit of a rhythm, and get back into their groove and see what track position they can make up.
Absolutely, but the young bloke here to talk to started up in the back rows of the grid, now working his way up to 17th. Troy Maguire is having quite a good performance there, slowly working his way through, keeping his nose clean.
Certainly our hard charger so far, he is. It's like we were talking about earlier, there's already lapped cars starting to fall victim at the moment, so it'll certainly be a big factor in tonight's racing, it will.
It will be. And we might just continue to look around in the pack here. We might come back up to this Logan Barnett group. Harrison's now latched onto the back of this in 10th, so this is a really strong battle here from 6th down the 10th. There's Michael Dumbrell. Michael Whiting drops another spot there, so I'm not sure whether Michael's had a slide off or something. Let's just go have a look here at Michael's car. It all looks intact. So I'd say he had a slide off going onto the straight or a slowdown, which has allowed the group to get past. So I'm interested to see how well he fights back here. If you're watching along at home, make sure you jump on and like Dave Baldup and Stewie Warboys and say good day. Let us know what you're watching and who you're supporting. And of course, we always take feedback for Nathan's commentary.
Yeah, rating out of, I don't know what's better, 1 to 5 or 1 to 20. I'll let the viewers decide which is the better rating.
And we have to agree with you, Stewie, that the boy has to pull his finger out, but I think he's doing the best he can. I think he can stay where he is. I think he'll be happy.
So, yeah, if he can get... of the championship, if Blake can beat Jamie McKnight, people's champion, then I reckon Blake will be happy with that, and Jamie will be wanting to do the exact same thing. He'll want to get as many points back at Blake as he can, so. But they've both got the carrot in front of them of James Scott there to try and see if they can get even close to his lap record, so let's see what these boys can do. They are coming up on the lap car though, Paul Hayes.
Logan Barnett's gone for a big pass going down here. Up alongside Rob Carmichael on the inside, he should get this done. Rob arguing it, coming back the other side. Too wide, this is great driving through 10A, 10B. Up over the hill through the blind turn. Another spot, very difficult to go too wide.
Wow, that was a great passage from those guys there. The car gets so light and so unstable. Trying to use all the track, let alone trying to go too wide with someone. That was great to see.
So Logan definitely playing the don't argue button. Not scared to stick it up the inside and have a go.
Right. If these boys stay side by side all night, this could get very interesting in the tail end of this race.
Could be.
Both certainly pushing very, very hard.
Interesting line there by Rob coming in. You can see really bouncing over those curbs there. Looks like we might have some lap traffic coming up in front of them as well.
Yeah, they got Darren Crosby and Nathan Cook for the 2 lap cars just in front of these 2 guys. As they go down that very, very long straight. Check the bars, check the relative, see what sort of lap time you did the lap before.
And here we come, lap traffic.
Yourself.
On the inside. Logan not having a look this time. We'll see if we can get a clean run. To apologise tonight, guys. Some of my graphics are haven't quite come back to life after our little hissy fit that we had earlier.
It's I reckon we could almost blame it on the daylight savings. We could, Johnny. Throwing everyone out of whack, including the computer systems.
Oh, absolutely out of whack. Sorry about that. That's definitely out of whack. Let's see if I can fix that up, mate. And as we can see, we've still got that, I think it's Kennedy in front. Sorry, Darren Crosby in front here. So these boys are still battling it out. Only 0.1 of a second. He's right up behind him this time.
Definitely getting close to that passing opportunity.
Definitely, here we go. Kennedy out of the way, which is good to see. And my graphics are still all over the place, so we might try something different. Oh, going for a pit run here. So Logan's one of the first ones to go for the pits. Very hard on the brakes coming in.
Yeah, very interesting.
Very, very interesting there. And I apologise to Stewie Warboys. The side graphics are going to be a little bit smaller, mate, but I'm playing catch up. And I just disappeared altogether. Not sure what's going on, but anyway. We've got graphics. And Logan's in the pits. Let's go back up the front and have a look what's going on with Warboys.
It's a very interesting pit strategy by Logan there. If he was trying to do it in 3 different stints, that would only get him to lap 51, so he must be trying to get a bit of clear air, I reckon, is what he's up to there, Johnny.
Definitely. The graphics playing some funny buggers with me, but we're back. Yeah, it's very interesting. I reckon Jamie's probably buying his time. Knowing Jamie, he's knows you don't need to be in front, you don't need to be passing him until you get into those last 4 or 5 laps. Jamie will be sitting behind, saving fuel, looking after tyres, studying Blake's lines, studying Blake's moves, seeing what he can come up with.
Yeah, he's very good at that, Jamie, isn't he? Just sits there, assesses, uses his experience to take everything in,
that was my bad.
and then just like a cat pounces at the right time.
We might just have a look. Andrew Archer's had an incident. We might just have a look what happened to Andrew.
Someone like Andrew. Still you.
Oh, ouch. Oh, that's not much fun.
That's not what you normally like.
So let's go back. We're looking at Warboys there. We'll go back and have a look at the other group that's a bit tight. So Paul Young's fought his way back up to 7th. Still on this little train here. Chasing down Michael Dumbrell. Michael Whiting behind. Harrison Dengate 0.3 behind that. And Scotty McKeon 0.4 behind that. So it's definitely a very tight battle pack, this group.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Where these guys are getting very, very used to the sensation of you don't want to blink or make the wrong move, because you don't want to be that guy to lose an easy 4 or 5 spots just for a silly little mistake being in a train like this. So high concentration levels from all of them there will be.
Absolutely. They are working really well. And Daryl Shannon stalled on the start. I believe it was Daryl Shannon. So let's just have a look, see if we can find what's happening with Daryl. And Daryl at the moment is sitting in 18th in the EMU Racing livery. Ryan Van Reed poking behind him by 0.5 seconds, with Troy Sipple battling another second behind that. So we've got some battles everywhere around the circuit at the moment. These boys are a little bit ways behind. They've got a little bit of a distance to get up to Timmy Nichols. But he's doing reasonably well, Dave. He's having a crack.
Yeah, he's certainly giving it a red hot go, he is.
Definitely is. And while we're having a look around, we might drop further back. We'll have a look for Joshy. We'll have a look how Ash is going. Ash is sitting in 16th.
And as we ask every single week, Ash, please do not crash while we're watching you.
Cue the
Where we've
music.
had it. Yeah, we almost need our intro music to go on now while we're watching Ash.
So Ash got a fair care gap around him. He's got Timmy Nichols 2 seconds behind and Nicholas Loveridge 3.5 seconds up the road. So he's doing reasonably well.
Yeah, he'd be cherishing that clear air, he would be. Being able to just get into your rhythm and just keep punching out those lap numbers lap after lap, I reckon he'll be very much enjoying that.
Just having a look, I think we might have had an incident further back with Toddy Martin. So let's just go back and have a look.
Yeah.
Not sure what's happened here. And slightly missed the curve, gone a bit wide. Mr. Scott, they're going through. Oh, he's almost taken out the leader. He's parked there. A precarious position to be parked. Will he get it started, or is he waiting for more traffic? And safely gets it rejoined. Nice work, Todd, to get it back on. I reckon James Scott's would have had his heart in his mouth there for a second.
Yeah, that would have. That probably wouldn't have been how James pictured tonight going if he did get collected there, but would have made it interesting for us as viewers, that's for sure.
Let's have a look how Logan Barnett's going after that pit stop. So he's pushing up behind Blair Van Ree at the moment. So Blair missing the bonnet. I suppose that's one way to try and make the Commodore look like the Mustang. Yes, Claire, he's in the Commodore tonight.
It's like he goes for a new livery every single week, Blair. There's a slightly different variation of one panel per week. You'd certainly have your work cut out for you if you were Blair's vinyl wrapper, you would.
Absolutely. And just to answer your question, Dave Baldock, yeah, we've got to let him race one night a week.
Yeah, mate. Cut the insult.
So, as we're now lap 22, so we're basically a third of the way through this race. James Scott is out to a 21-second lead. That's correct, 21 seconds. And doing really well. We've got Blake Warboys in second, Jamie McKnight right behind him, Christian Smart in fourth, Rob Carmichael fifth, Michael Dumbrell in sixth, Paul Young in seventh, Michael Whiting eighth, Scotty McHugh ninth, Ash Barella is in 16th on my board there. There's a few good battles going on everywhere. It's hard to work out where to look. Might have a look at this Paul Young train again.
And it's been 16 spots that Troy Maguire's made up, so he's definitely in the hot seat for the hard charger at this point in the race.
Absolutely. As you can see, this truck very undulating. Lots of changes of direction. Very rewarding if you get it right. If you don't get it right, it can be very damaging to your lap time.
Thanks, Becky.
Yeah, it certainly does come back to bite you if it goes wrong. Certainly a track where suspension setup is very, very critical. To get that damping right and that window of the ratio between shock rate, spring rate, bump control, rebound control, to get it all in the right spot, it certainly takes a lot of work to get it just right around this track.
Absolutely. And the other problem you've got with this track now being a 1:20 track, and not your usual 2-minute circuits that we race around, is lap traffic. Now, as we saw before, Martin with Toddy, almost taking out the race leader.
Yeah, we've got so far at the 1/3 mark, we've already got 10 cars that have been lapped by Mr. Scott. So we've got a few people darting into the pits.
Yep. Carmichael, Dumbrell, Whiting are all going for the pits here.
Yeah.
So the Fishy boys going together, and the Hypersonic boys have split the strategy. Harrison Dengate stayed out.
Yeah, those fishy boys always love staying in a, what is it when they're under the water? Not a herd, that's cattle. A school of fish, there we go. I'm not the biggest fisherman in the world, so Please excuse the lack of fishing knowledge. I just know that fishing goes well with chips.
As we jump on, just doing some weird stuff there on the screen. I don't know why. It's looking very fisheye at the moment.
So we're just descaling a few issues we are.
So Harrison Dengate sitting in 8th. He stayed out an extra lap. He's got lap traffic, but he's got the hypersonic boys of McCune and Stewart in front of him. Craig Roffey further 2 seconds behind.
Thanks, Todd.
One better that time.
And the hypersonic boys have rolled in. So Harrison looking at getting past Paul Hayes here, getting past the lap car. Going another lap further than what everyone else around him is, so it'll be interesting to see if the undercut works on this circuit or not.
Yeah, it's out of watching what happens at like certain tracks. It either works really well or it just you're better off just extending it as long as possible. Interestingly, Mr. James Scott has just pulled into the pits he has.
Well, let's have a look and see what Mr. Warboys does, see if he follows. Mr. McKnight right behind here. I might throw one out here and I might say McKnight will go an extra lap. And so does Warboys. Interesting. And McKnight's pitted.
Yeah, Jamie's in, Blake's going, so I wonder how this will pan out when we get to this final stop. But that does mean we have a new race leader tonight.
It's the Warboys.
That's Blake out leading the pack again, just for something different. He's certainly racking up a few laps led he has in this series. But he will be pushing very, very hard to try and minimise that gap to James Scott, as well as also trying to pull away from the People's Champion, so he certainly won't be letting his foot off at all, Blake will.
No, definitely a lot of work to be done here as he's working through. Scott's back on track in second place, 30 seconds behind Warboys. So he's the first one to come back out. In third place, we've got Mr. Timmy Nichols from Pecky Performance Racing. Might just drop back here and have a look at Tim. Running the Veterans livery for this week. The Vets course having their 100th race at Daytona at night under lights, and they're running a retro round. So good to see Timmy Nichols in the Pecky Performance livery. Running the retro.
That's a pretty cool livery, that is.
Well, just going off the Vets Discord chat, a lot of boys have spent a lot of time doing a lot of liveries. So if you can get a chance to watch on a Thursday night, make sure, or Friday night, because we have 2 splits broadcasted, be sure to check them out because they're definitely well worth a look.
Yeah, most definitely. I think I'll certainly. I usually try to give the boys a watch and see how it all pans out across both nights, but I'll certainly have to make the time this week to watch them.
Blake Warboys is in the pits now. So waiting for James Scott's gone past already. Ash Morella has crashed.
Oh no.
We'll have a look what's happening.
Where was the music?
Let's see while we're in the pitch here. We might have a look at this. What's going on? Mr. Barella. Oh no. Ouch.
Dear.
Oh dear. Sorry, Josh.
Crew's going to be working hard on that.
Nice little pirouette there at the end, though.
Maybe there's something he's not telling us.
I think he's blown his engine there as well.
Oh dear, yeah.
Let's have a look where Ash is. Trying to find him again on the leaderboard.
Thanks, Todd.
He's parked there on the straight. Oh, would not be surprised. This could
You'll
be.
clear the toe, mate.
No, clear the toe. We might. He's safe there. He's out of the way. Luckily. So all the pit stops now are just about completed. As we pick up Mr. McKnight, who is basically a ways back on in front of Warboys. Warboys has come out a fair way down the order.
Thanks, Mark.
So I'm a bit surprised by that. So I'm not sure what's happened to Blake there. Obviously going longer didn't pay.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the that advantage of the undercut that we saw, or if it's going to be a case of maybe Blake's put on a little bit of extra fuel so that he has to take slightly less in the final stop, because that could be a very cheeky move for the drivers in this form of racing.
It could be. It really could be.
So, to break out the calculator again, based off the fact that all these guys were sort of coming in around that lap sort of 25 to 28 sort of mark, I reckon based off of how far they've gone, it'd be realistically between lap 40 and 50 for some of these drivers, that final fuel stop critical window to make it home. So this middle stint going to be a very short stint compared to the first one and the last one.
Absolutely. Blake's basically lost out 6 seconds on McKnight, which sees him having to progress a fair way in front. And you can see a bit of lap traffic in there. Blake catching up behind Logan Barnett as well. So we head down this long back straightaway here. Of course, being here in the deep south, Nath, what does that make you think of?
Well, I've had my dinner for the night, so there is still a bit of food on the mind, so deep fried ice cream?
Bit of deep fried chicken.
Ooh, that could be dinner round 2.
So I'm wondering whether Blake's worked up his appetite to chase down McKnight.
Yeah, I reckon he could be sitting, instead of it being the usual carrot that we see, Blake could be seeing a bit of chicken if he does like a good piece of chicken. So chicken nuggets from KFC, sucker for him. So that could be what he sees up ahead with about the back of Mr. McKnight. So I reckon he's giving it a red hot go.
Nugs, not drugs, no.
Exactly. A 24 pack of nugs goes a long way. Well, not in a meal, but it certainly does for your craving.
Stripstream here pulling out alongside. He's going to have to go around a long way on the first part of 10A, but he might be inside 10B. He might have this done. He has. Blake moves up into third. 5.5 seconds up the road is McKnight. So the chase is on. Let's have a look and see if we can find some other tight bunches. Matty Dench, race 7 winner. He's battling away back in 21st position at the moment, chasing Andrew Archer. With Darren Shannon a bit further back behind again. There's a little bit of lap traffic with Darren Crosby in the middle there. So as I was saying before, that lap traffic is going to be very difficult to work through tonight.
Yeah, it's making, I don't know about you, Johnny, but it's making it sort of tricky looking at a glance everywhere throughout the pack, seeing who is and isn't on the lead lap anymore, or battling, because there's a couple of groups of cars that are very close together that are at 1 lap down. It's perfectly fine and viable for them to keep battling away and race their own race, as long as there's no lead lap cars that they're affecting.
That's exactly right.
It's as if they're going as if they are racing on the lead lap, which is fair enough. That's what I'd be doing. I wouldn't be giving up any easy positions just for the sake of it.
Sorry, I'm just laughing. Yeah, Dave, I feel like some nugs as well, mate. Don't worry, you're not on your own with that. If you are watching along at home, feel free to jump in, type some comments in, say good day. Rate Nathan's commentary out of 10. Let us know how he's going. Let us know
for a little bit of a side one, let us know, are you a Macca's Nuggets person or are you a KFC Nuggets person? You got me distracted now.
We've gone so far this race so far. We've gotten 31 laps, half race distance without a safety car.
Make a habit of that, Nathan.
And let's have a look. What's going on up the front? Blake Warboys is still 5 seconds behind Jamie. And Logan Barnett sitting 0.7 behind, so not much has happened in that part of the battling. And we might have a look at Paul Young. Big shout out to our PRA fan base. So Paul is being under a bit of pressure from Michael Stewart. He's in a bit of a hypersonic sandwich with Scotty McCune in front. So this has been an epic battle all night between these three cars. And that's pretty much our main battle packs we've got running around us at the moment.
Thanks, Todd.
Michael Whiting, of course, is with Rob Carmichael. Looks like the fish are starting to swarm together.
Yes, they can smell those chips. They know there's a meal coming.
And they are hunting down
chicken.
And they're hunting down Christian Smart. This is a further 7 seconds up the road.
Cheers.
With some lap traffic in the middle.
Yeah, it's good to see Christian getting back into a good
Thanks,
rhythm and doing his own thing again. Trying to get up near the pointy end of the race, so it's fantastic to see.
Thanks, Shane.
And the old KFC popcorn go buckets is the winner, Nath. Not your Macca's Nuggets. And a big shout out to Daniel Norris watching, another one of the Vets boys. Cheering on his mates from Pecky Performance Racing. Speaking of... Let's have a look further back. Let's have a look how Mr. Nichols is going. So Mr. Nichols is sitting in 18th at the moment. He's plugging away quite well. He's sort of got clear air behind and clear air in front. So hopefully starting to lap in some consistent lap times. And of course we go to the boss at Pecky Performance Racing. Jump on board with the man himself. It's good to see Mr. Peck.
Thanks, Troy.
Yeah, it's always fun watching the team runner, the team owner, and what they can do.
Hey, we've got another one. We've got another penalty from race control. Oh, Pecky's off.
Oh no!
Doing a bit of drifting out there on the grass. Bit of NT style, bit of Darwin style there from Pecky. We'll be in trouble for showing that, but we'll move on.
Thanks, Ron.
And of course in race control, they've of course got Trumpy in there, putting on the salt in the wounds of some of these penalties that are coming out, especially to us.
Yeah, he's certainly mixing it up now. I did forget he was in there for a minute, but yeah, it's certainly Mr. Trump has his ways, doesn't he?
Definitely does.
All good, right?
Or maybe he's just got chicken withdrawals.
Absolutely. So James Scott out to a 29-second lead. Of course, the Altus East driver. He comes back to the series after his stint in the V8 Supercar E-Series and Scops Enduro Series. So, of course, the Altus East boys have been very busy. For those who haven't been following along at home in the Porsche E-Cup Series, young Jordan Caruso and Cooper Webster have been campaigning in the Contender Series to join Australia's Dane Warren and Josh Rogers in the E-Series, the Porsche E-Series next year. So a bit of mixed results, a bit of an unlucky night for the boys on Sunday night, but still in with a shot, so good luck to the boys from Altus East. If you're out there watching, jump on and say good day.
People out there. Good to see him get a good result, especially with a big series like that.
Yeah, also you got Griffin Gardner and Josh Anderson having a crack in the series as well. And only the top 15 go through to the E-Series. And of course you've got the top 15 drivers, sorry, 20 drivers relegated from the E-Series and 15 drivers that won their way through the qualifying series to race the Contender Series. So well worth a look and well worth getting on early hours of the morning and supporting the Aussies along. And big shout out to Simon Fugel and the boys for giving those blokes a go to do that sort of racing. Wave the Aussie flag. It's great to see.
Yeah, most definitely. It's always good seeing the Aussie flag in any sport. online or real life getting waved at such a high level and an international level like that. So it's great stuff from those lads.
It is. So the Fishy boys are all still close together. Matty Dench had an incident a few lap ago, so we might jump back in the replay and have a look at what happened to Matty. Coming up behind Timmy Nichols. And missed his braking point, put the wheel on the grass and kept it off the wall. So nice recovery from Mr. Dench there. And go back to the live picks. It's pretty scary. My heart goes to my mouth now every time I click that button.
It's like a little adrenaline rush just to watch a replay now.
After our technical difficulties earlier on. And let's go back up the front and have a look what's going on with Mr. McKnight and War Boys. So Mr. McKnight still 4 seconds up the road. Blake's closed in a second over the last couple of laps.
Yeah, I've been keeping a little bit of an eye of their lap times and stuff, and they're both doing very, very similar sort of times. Blake just keeps chipping away at Jamie every now and then, which will be Jamie will be keeping a close eye on those relatives, I reckon. But yeah, Blake will certainly be doing everything he can to get back into that slipstream and see if he can fuel save the fuel save man.
Interesting to see how we end up with that battle. And as we're jumping around, we might have a look how Harrison Dengate's getting on, sitting back in 13th. So Harrison right up behind Craig Roffey here, so we've got a nice little battle pack happening. What we might do is we might jump on the nose. See Harrison using all the track, bouncing it over the curbs.
He's still up a couple of spots on his qualifying time, he is.
And
Page.
good evening, Mrs. Brown. Yes, Nathan is behaving himself tonight.
That's hello, Mum and Dad. It's been a good bit of fun tonight. We weren't talking about chicken nuggets too much. I can't promise that, but it could be a myth.
Tony Martin's off on the grass. Not sure why. May be slowing down here. We could have a blown engine. So just keep an eye on that one, Nath. Long way to get back home on the grass from there. Or he could have been getting out of the way of the leaders. Looks like he's got himself composed and going again. So we
I'm not entirely sure what was going on there.
Nah, not sure either. Jump back on with Mr. Scott. So he's out to 33 seconds. Mr. Warboys now is closed in to 3 seconds behind. Logan Barnett has basically stayed with Blake. Stayed within a second of him. And Christian Smart's a further 2.5 seconds back down the road. So Christian having a very quiet race, uneventful without anyone around him at the moment after those first couple of laps.
Just the flying under the radar and seeing what he can do for the evening.
Well, it's nicely sitting in 5th. He's got a nice little gap of 2.5 seconds to Logan in front of him, and then it's a further 9 seconds back to Michael Whiting. Just heard something blow.
Yeah, so did I.
Let's have a quick look. It's not Jamie. Jamie's running. I haven't heard anything on race control, so...
I'm having a quick look through the field. I can't see anyone anywhere. Although Daniel Norris does have a theory that every time that we talk about KFC or nuggets, that someone happens to go off the track into the sand trap. So it could be a little bit of commentator's curse. It could be some of them trying to find their local nugget distributor. So up for debate it is.
Might have to fry up some more chicken, Nath.
Yeah, I think Mr. Trumpy's going to be worked overtime. He's not going to like that.
Absolutely not.
Tying up all sorts of chicken. Chef Trump.
Race control. Can't see your toe and the entrance to the pit.
There we go.
I'm pitting Jamie.
If you're in the pit lane, Todd, just go straight away, please, mate.
Oh, there was an engine blowing in the pits. It was Todd Martin. So that is the answer to that question we had just before.
He nearly made it back, made it to the pit entry, but unfortunately not quite all the way up to his pit bay, so very unfortunate that is.
So War Boys is now 2.5 seconds. We might drop back. I hope the Sonic Boys are all racing around together. Still keeping Mr. Young in front of them honest. So Scotty McCune chasing down Paul Young with his teammate Michael Dumbarell behind. Sorry, it's
out of speaking of undercuts and the pit stops and all that we were going on about earlier, Johnny. After being Larko's young apprentice and getting the calculator out again,
yes,
I would almost be willing to say that we're at the start of the second pit stop window.
I reckon we can't be too far. I've seen Maguire's gone in already, so he's gone in early.
It would only be a 23 lap stint. We did see some guys go as long as, I think, 25 laps was the longest stint. So it'd be a bit of a stretch on the tyres and a big ask for them to push hard on the final stages of this race, but it would be doable. And we did see the undercut gain that Jamie got over Blake. Maybe it could be worthwhile. Maybe it would be a good thing to pit so early on.
Don't forget with lap traffic and this track with very little opportunities for overtaking apart from coming down into 10A and 10B, it could be an opportunity to do that. Get the undercut and hope you can hang on with good tyres. And of course, we've only got 22 laps to go, so we've reached the third distance, two-third distance of the race now.
Yeah, we still haven't, apart from maybe those nugs, we haven't heard too much from Trumpy either, so Ben and Rich must be doing alright with them so far.
Race control, can you have a look at that, please?
Oh, speak of the devil, we've just
I'll
heard a bit of a call in the background there, so the boys will be busy at it again, overseeing everything.
I'm sure Nathan that Trumpy's putting a bit of salt into the mix of their decision making.
Car 5 has been disqualified for towing without permission.
Oh! Had someone disqualified for towing. Young Blair. Van Reed. Not sure what's happened there.
It's not what you want to hear or see at all, so...
I'm sure one of the senior members of the team will have to give him a talking to.
Yes, that brotherly love comments might be the best way to describe that. I'm not sure if we'll be allowed to reveal much more.
Yes, Dave. How are you, Jason? Another one of the Vets boys have dropped in to check out how Daryl Shannon's going from EMU.
Thanks, Dave.
See how the rest of the Vets boys are going against these young bucks in the East Coast Series. Got a bit of mixed fortunes tonight with how they're travelling, Jace, but we're trying to fight our way through. And we'll just have a quick look through. See Darren sitting in 22nd at the moment.
Yeah, this next straight, boys.
Nicely battling away. He's got Shane Roffey not far behind him. So he's tracking along really well.
Thanks, Ash. Thanks, Ash. All good, boys.
The pit lane hasn't got too busy yet. Troy Maguire, though, he's up in the 19th, a lap down, but 31st to 19th is still our man for the hard charger at this point in time, having gained 12 spots.
Good work, buddy.
Of course, he's come back out sitting in between War Boys and...
So after a little bit of airtime.
That's a fair drive, Troy.
He's doing really well as well to be keeping pace with these lead boys too. So it would have been interesting to see if he was up near the pointy end of it all this evening.
So Drive-through penalty for Ryan Van Reef, an incident with Nathan Gore on lap 39.
Drive-through penalty for car 18 for contact with car 11 on lap 39.
So there was 2 incidents there. Let's see if I can...
That's not your that's not the man for brotherly love, Ryan.
No.
Certainly plenty going on throughout the field, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure where to look at the moment. As we stay with Troy Maguire as the filler in the battle between these two, between McKnight and Warboys. Might just jump up and have a quick look where James Scott is. He's out by himself. Just for those following along at home, he's lapped everybody up to number 13. So he's lapped everyone up to Craig Roffey. So that's a fair effort.
20 cars out of this field. He's managed to lap.
Is it possible that we have to give James a hard charger?
That's yeah. I think we need to clarify this hard charger thing a little bit more, don't we?
Well, after last week, with thinking that he'd won it because he'd gone from 30th to 8th, back to 30th and back to 8th.
Yeah, it's a... I might have to come up with a new award. Although that's going to be cool. That's going to be a big tally, keeping track of how many cars each of these guys pass within a night.
Let's
That'd
do
be
a lap.
a phenomenal number.
Let's do a lap and listen to James Scott.
Thanks, Troy.
Just going to interject here, Mr. Anthony. You don't make the rules.
That's well, he has got you there, Johnny. I've got nothing except for they've well played, race control. Oh yeah, Mr. Trump is on your side.
See, James, this is really like the wheel control is fascinating to watch. It's very smooth, very precise. This hits every apex. Just the precision of this is just really fascinating.
Yeah, the ability to pull the car up at just the right mark every single time, and to be able to turn in to get every single mark every time. I'm just happy to do one lap of it, let alone 62 of them.
These young blokes just blow me away like this. Their driving abilities are just, yeah, absolutely fascinating.
Oh, and another fascinating item is Blake has come into the pits. Blake is trying the undercut, he is. McKnight has stayed out and James has stayed out. Well, we were on board with James while that was all happening, but yeah. We've got Christian stayed out behind Blake as well. No one else has really come in yet that I can see, Johnny, so I wonder if Blake's trying the reverse of what happened in the first round of pit stops.
Let's have a look. These Warboys are still in the pits. So Warboys is about to be lapped.
Yeah, see, Blake has officially just gone a lap down.
Thanks,
So
mate.
that's how much of a lead that James has on this field.
Thanks, mate.
I'm very curious to see what's how this is all going to pan out, Johnny.
Well, let's jump on
Wonder
board
what
with
Jamie
People's
will do.
Champion. See whether he comes into the pits as he comes out of 10B. Up over the hill. And goes another.
Oh, he's going again. Wow.
The master might be about to teach the apprentice again, I think.
Yeah, maybe just when we thought that we'd picked it with when to do an undercut or how to do it, and what tracks to do it on. Maybe Jamie's about to show us another lesson. There they go. I don't think anyone would be able to make it the whole way through at this point in time on the last tank. I think everyone will still have to pit one more time to get it all done and sorted.
Well, the fishy boys are coming in. Yeah, I reckon Jason, if we put him back at the rear of the grid, I still think he'd probably come close to coming home P1. Does hold the track record for iRacing at this circuit for the V8s, James Scott.
Yeah,
and
that's certainly no easy feat.
On the right, James.
Thanks, buddy.
So, Mr. McKnight coming down the hill, back into 10-1, 10A and 10B. Let's see if he goes into the pits this time.
What will he do? Staying out again. Going the long middle stint.
Yeah, we remember.
Must be trying to get the absolute maximum out of his tyres for the final stint.
Interesting to see how this undercut pays out. As we only have 19 laps to go.
They're all out looking throughout the field. Everyone's sort of coming into this final stint. Everyone seems to be relatively spread out at the moment too. There's no huge battle packs going on around everywhere. Everyone just sort of sitting in their groove, trying to get the maximum out of this middle stint before bringing it home.
That's right, Warboys was lucky enough to come out with a bit of space around him. So I hope he's making the most out of these new tyres.
Around on the next straight if you like that.
On the right, short.
Yeah, most definitely. That's what you hope and pray for, especially when you try a strategy like a big undercut or a big overcut. You want that track space, you want that clear air. There's nothing worse than giving it a go, pulling out and having to battle or fight for position or having to get through some lap traffic just because it didn't quite work out.
Knight is in.
Thanks, boys.
Let's jump on board with Blake.
How will all this pan out?
Thanks, Troy. Right.
So Warboys running down the back straight now, heading down to turn 11 and 12. Sorry, 10A, 10B. It's love how these Americans name corners with numbers and letters.
It just reminds me of algebra in school.
No,
I was past all that.
What you call a straight line, if it's got a 2 degree angle change, we'll call it a corner.
Blake coming around the final corner at the moment. And Jamie just leaving his pit bay.
Thanks, mate.
Ooh, this will be close.
It's going to be very close.
Entering into turn 1. Jamie out of the pits.
Jamie's got him, I think. Jamie's got him.
Yeah, I think. Sure has. And there's 2 cars in between. But interestingly, though, James Scott is just behind Jamie McKnight. So Jamie might have to slow down to let the lead car pass. This could fall into Blake's favour.
Of course, Jamie McKnight doing a lot of enduro driving with Typhoon Esports and the Fishy Boys. Used to cars passing him, particularly racing LMP2s. LMP1s on the track.
So at the moment, James hasn't quite got past Jamie yet. Blake doing everything he can. Getting past lap cars really well.
Plenty of lap traffic in here, Mr. McKnight included.
And James has just come into the pits. There'll be a few cars getting their lap back.
Thanks, Dave.
So
there you go. It was as high as only 7 cars on the lead lap just before James pitted then.
It's a fair effort, that driving ability there. So you can see Mr. Warboys in the background. This lap traffic now would be becoming a little bit concerning, I'd imagine. Actually, sorry, it's not lap traffic. These are the guys that haven't pitted. So Harrison Dengate just in front of Jamie McKnight.
Jam pit lane, traffic jam pit lane.
Oh, I heard there's a bit of commotion going on near the pit lane there, Johnny.
Control your
Oh no, there's a car
Please
stuck
all
in the
tow,
pit
all three of
lane.
you, please tow. Oh,
He's trying to find
Oh
that.
no. Yeah, I think Pecky got caught up and a few other cars got caught up there. Oh dear, that was a, only caught the tail end of it, but yeah, it was like a car park all of a sudden.
Let's go, Dirty Pig replay. And looks like we're exiting the pit. James Scott there as well. Oh no, don't tell me our race leader's caught up in this. He is! Oh my god! Pecky's
no.
blocked the pit road. Unbelievable. Oh, just straight in the back there from Troy Sipple. Wow.
Thanks, mate.
Wow. Let's go back and look at that a second time.
Moly.
Let's look at that a second
Yeah,
time. It'll
that's-
come from a different camera. So a little bit of confusion, I think, from Pecky with the race leader. Do I let him pass? I think that's what's happened there. They've rubbed, blocked the track, one in.
Oh dear, and I reckon he stalled it too. Stalled it or blown the motor.
And what happened to Nicholas Loveridge? Did he join the back of this, or he might just jump to that? He's coming out of the pits as well.
You've got to be kidding, Scotty.
And he just got caught out in the pack
I will have a look.
there as well. So yeah, that's entertainment for the night.
Wow, yeah, and there's well, I've heard a little bit of a whisper. We did coincidentally have a pit reporter down there at the time. Let's just cross over live to the pit lane at the moment. What have you got, new pit reporter?
Yeah, Mr. Trump here. I kicked out of race control for 2 seconds. But I tell you what, that was wicked. Like, I've never seen so many actions from cars apart from movies in my life. To see the leaders, other cars getting caught up like that, I didn't know where to look, man. Like, some of these boys, they race by their own rules, and it's got me bamboozled, eh? Give us the vote. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Trump. It's unfortunate you were kicked out of race control there, but glad to see that you were down there for a perfect moment in time. Thanks, mate. Have a good one.
Cheers, man.
There you go. We're getting new people every week. We are, John.
We definitely are. And just having a bit of a look at James Scott's car there, I don't think he received any damage out of that incident. So our race leader might be quite lucky to have got away with that. As we watch him come through the S's.
He's just done his fastest lap of the race of a 1 minute 19.074. So if he has got damage, I very much doubt it.
And we go back and have a look at the McKnight Warboys battle. So it's 3.5 seconds between our series person in number 2. Our number 2 in the series, Mr. McKnight, and our championship leader, Mr. Warboys. So could we be seeing a change of the guard at the top of the leaderboard tonight?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens to the points here.
Very interesting. As we've got 10 laps to go. And with James Scott 40 seconds up the road, I don't think we're going to press the big finish button tonight, Nate.
No, it's everyone seems to be in a pretty good groove and rhythm. Like we've had a little bit of chaos here and there, but everyone in the pointy end of this race seems to be doing their thing pretty well.
Let's 10 to go. Let's have a bit of a recap through the pack and see how everyone's travelling. So Darren Shannon is up in the 20th. He's been chased by Nathan Gore, minus the bonnet there, and Paul Young in 8th. Coming up behind to lap these boys. We might have some other groups. And Timmy Nichols, that's our other next battle pack. So Timmy's only half a second ahead of Frank Hodak. So Frank chasing Timmy quite hard, so I'm interested to see if we get an overtake done here.
He'll get a very big toe down the straight here. He will.
It's definitely.
He does.
So there we go. So we come down into turn 10A and 10B. We've got a week off next week, Josh. So give Nathan a chance to think about who we bring on board next to come and talk to us.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a few interviews to see who makes it into this makes it into our crew. I think, Johnny, it'll be a hotly contested position for the pit lane reporter.
And Timmy Nichols looks like he's ducking into the pits. And we'll have a look at how All Boys is going. Still 3.3 seconds behind McKnight. Still dealing with a bit of lap traffic, as you can see. Boys work their way through. Christian Smart is still in 4th spot. He's only 4 seconds further back behind Blake. So still plenty of time to work his way forward. Still got a couple of guys in the pits with Timmy Nichols and Toddy Martin. Might have a look at how young Harrison's going. Young Harrison's sitting in 11th at the moment.
And he's the last man on the lead lap too.
Yep. And is he going to go up the inside? Is he going to send it?
Oh yeah, he's giving it a red hot go. But we've seen you can go too wide through this section.
And he's got it done.
Plenty of room. Plenty of room from both boys.
Great little overtake there from Harrison. Good to see H having a crack at it.
Yes, and now Michael Stewart got the contending with James and about to get lapped. Which means we've only got 10 cars left on the lead lap. With less than 10 laps to go.
So we haven't got very many battle packs tonight, but we might drop back to the next one that I can find. So Paul Young is only 1 second up the road from Michael Dumbrell. So Michael chasing very hard to try and get onto the back of him. So just to see if Paul can hold him off. Logan Barnett is starting to put the pressure onto Christian Smart. So Christian's only 0.7 seconds up the road.
Yeah, he'll have to work quite hard to keep that 4th place tonight, he will.
He definitely will. And as we keep working our way through, we'll have a look where else we've got a couple of close battles. We went there before. And down the back further, Nathan Gore, who is basically chasing down Darryl Shannon in front of him. As you can see, a bit of lap traffic. Got James Scott in the middle there, flashing some lights, trying to get through.
Just giving him a little bit of a, hey guys, I'm just here.
So Nathan Gore is basically 2 seconds behind Darryl Shannon in front of him, so he'll be chasing him down, see if anything happens there. We might just jump back up to where our championship leader is and just have a look what's going on up the front of our group here. So he's still 3.5 seconds, or 3.7 seconds behind McKnight, so he hasn't really made major inroads with only 8 laps to go. Sorry, 6 laps to go.
We've got Jamie did a 20.1 this lap just by. And Blake did a 20.3, so I reckon maybe those tyres from the undercut is just starting to hurt Blake a little bit here in these closing stages.
Could be the case. I think the long game as well, be consistent. Happy to take a third maybe.
Yeah, exactly. He's still got a bit of room to Christian behind, who's got a little bit of pressure, or a lot of pressure starting to form from Logan behind him, so if those two start battling, that'll give Blake a little bit of a buffer to just sit in, do his own thing, and take as many championship points as he can, like you said, thinking about the long game here. Yeah, they're all very much in a big freight train all around the track, aren't they, Johnny?
Definitely are. Some good racing, some good tight stuff, particularly from 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. As you can see, Blake's just up the road there. We can see Jamie going under the bridge. Oh, Logan a bit hot there. It's going to allow Christian to move away a bit.
Not what you want in these final stages of the race. You want to be doing everything right to get those points, not die wondering.
That's exactly right. For those playing bingo at home, James Scott's now lapped his way up to 8.
Yeah, maybe that's something we should have gone over at the start of the stream, is how many would be left on the lead lap by the end of the season.
Logan using all the real estate he can. Definitely having a crack here, trying to trace down Christian. Blake's pulled away a little bit from Christian in front. There's 4 laps to go.
Well, Blake and Jamie are both doing very, very similar lap times once again to one another, so there's no real big advancements or disadvantages happening for either driver at the moment. It'll just come down to, in these last couple of laps, who can just stay out of drama and stay out of the way of the lap cars and just bring it home safely.
As you see, some traffic in the middle there, so these boys come past.
And hard charger though, Troy Maguire's still up in 14th spot after starting 31st, so I'm sure he'll be doing everything he can to try and stay there and secure that spot.
Logan looking a bit loose there, dropping off a little bit from Christian. Then sticks it back up under brakes. Warboy's starting to close the gap under McKnight. Might move up. Have a look. So a little bit of lap traffic might have been his equation there, changing the story a bit. Nicholas Loveridge in the middle. And Ryan Van Ree.
Yeah, to be fair, everyone's been doing a very, very good job tonight with sort of staying out of the way and not causing any carnage by banging the lap car down. So especially with a track like this, it is very, very hard to. So when it's one of the main points of the evening too, like just lap traffic in general, everyone's been doing a very good job overall.
Okay, I've got to say it's something that worried me when we were coming here. I thought lap traffic could be a contributing factor, but it looks like it hasn't been too bad.
So now Blake's got to make his way through those same cars.
As we jump on board with our race leader, Mr. Scott. So he's coming back through now to start lap 60. So 3 laps to go. He's worked his way up. He's chasing down number 7, Michael Whiting, 5 seconds up the road.
Probably a good thing that this race doesn't go on any longer, otherwise everyone would be lapped.
We call that the mercy rule. Like once he gets past Jamie, we go, that's it, we stop.
Yeah, it's not a time certain race, it's a James lapping everyone certain race. So I'm sure he's loving being out there that far ahead. Probably why he's still pushing so hard.
Let's have a look. We've got another couple of little battles starting to form, so we might jump up. Harrison Dengate is all over the back of Michael Dumbrell. Only 0.6 of a second there, so we can see if Harrison can make some inroads in these last couple of laps.
Another good chunk of points for H, another top 10 finish, so not throwing it away or doing anything silly, just thinking about that long game as well, which is great to see from such a young fella trying to consolidate and just get what you can, thinking of the big picture.
Absolutely. And of course Paul Young is only 0.8 seconds in front of Michael Dumbrell, so No, this battle, three-way battle here is for position. So this is 8, 9 and 10. So we might jump on with...
I reckon these guys could be the ones to watch in these last few laps.
So definitely closing right up. This will be interesting. Come down the long straightaway, looking for the slipstream as we go past Timmy Nichols. They all follow for the slipstream here. Be interesting to see if someone has a dive. Not this lap.
No one's linked yet. No, they're
Saving it for the last lap, maybe.
it could be a mini button finish. It could be with these three.
As James McKnight just takes the white flag for the last lap. And Blake Warboys is only 2 seconds behind Jamie McKnight. Bit of grass there, using everything he's got available to him.
They're all having a quick look up at James. There's a couple lap cars ahead of him, but they're well and truly ahead. So I don't think there'll be too much of an issue for him in this final lap.
Well, that's 7th and 6th on the track ahead of him.
Maybe he'll do his best.
Not a very good exit out of there. Michael Dumbrell losing a bit. Looks like Harrison's lost a little bit as well, trying to stay out of the way of Michael.
He's got a good run though, H. He's trying the outside going into the left-hander.
And let's see how we go. Harrison's... no! He's lost
moment.
it. No!
Oh,
As we jump back on board as our race winner, takes the checkered flag. Congratulations, James Scott. Great drive.
very good effort there from
Very
James.
happy with that. Paul Young comes home in 8th. Harrison Dengate. Of course, we'll go back and have a look at that.
And
Get that from a different camera angle.
James doing the good old celebration.
Harrison's a little bit too deep. Couldn't get control. Feel sorry for Michael. Of course, nowhere to go. He has to wait. Still got nowhere to go. Now they both try and get going. That's, yeah, feel for them.
Unlucky, really, yeah.
And here comes our second place getter, flashing the lights as he comes across the line. Mr. Jamie McKnight in second, Blake Warboys behind him in third. And then in fourth place, Christian Smart. Nice drive by Christian. Logan Barnett, fifth on debut.
I think Troy Maguire only just made it across the finish line there. I think he was out of fuel because he was going very, very slow. And he's towed just after he's crossed the line, so that was very interesting.
Let's see, have a look at the replay, see if that comes up for us. I reckon he's run out of fuel.
Yeah, I think he's still got hard charger though.
That's a fair effort.
I nearly threw it away.
That's a fair effort. Well, round 9 did not disappoint us.
No,
I've got to say that, Nath.
Plenty going on there was. It was certainly interesting watching James come through and carve up the entire field and show him how to do it over a longer race, and great to see Blake and Jamie play around with the undercut strategies, and yeah, it was just great racing all around the whole way to the end.
And probably got to say, mate, I wouldn't be surprised if there's one or two post-race penalties.
Yeah,
what we saw.
I think there'll be there might be a little bit we need to serve for the chicken nuggets penalty, but yeah, there might be a little bit going on with the post-race stuff for our race control.
Yep, keeping Ben busy, which is good to see. And
yeah,
we might jump in early here. We might drag up our race leader, James Scott. James, congratulations, mate.
Good stuff, mate.
Thanks, guys. Yeah,
We were
fun out there.
It's good, mate. Looked like you're having a lot of fun. We were quietly playing bingo to see how far up the field you could get. So,
Well, I'm sorry if you were one place off. I made a bit of a meal of my last pit stop, so it could have been a few more up. But
that was very entertaining, and we were quite surprised by the lack of damage you actually occurred for that.
yeah, that wasn't a problem. I had my fuel unticked, so I was there for probably 5 or 10 seconds more than what I needed to be. So yeah, that wasn't great, but luckily it didn't affect the result in the end.
No,
I do have a question regarding that and the lapping of everyone. So there's the mercy rule. Is there a James Scott lapping everyone mercy rule? Is that a thing, or?
No, I think most of the guys were pretty good. I think I got actually pretty lucky with the traffic. I got most of it on the straight, so it wasn't too bad. So yeah, that was good for them and good for me as well. So
and
all good.
It's good to have you back after your V8 E-Series duties. We already gave a big shout out to Altus East before because we gave Jordan and Cooper a big talk up with their Porsche stuff, what they've been up to. But is there anything you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, obviously those guys as well, they've been really good, as well as everyone at Altus working on the V8 stuff. I know there's some other stuff going on, like you said, with Porsche and GT and whatever else, but yeah, we've been working hard to get the car feeling good, which it is now. And obviously we couldn't do it without all our great sponsors as well. Of course, with Logitech G, Astro Gaming, Cube Controls, Own 3D, Race Tech Seats, Virtual Racing School, and Sam Blacklock Media. And obviously, shout out to you guys for the broadcast, and Ben and all the guys behind the scenes putting the series on. It's good to come race when I got some free time.
It's good to have you here, and I'll get
Good
everyone
stuff, mate.
take a deep breath, and we'll bring in Jamie. Once I work out where my mouse is. Good evening, Mr. McKnight.
Good evening, world. It's the People's Champion.
What a great drive! It was a bit of a battle. You had with Blake, but you seemed to really did well out of that first pit stop with the undercut.
Well, I think you know what I was doing behind Blake in the first stint. I think you guys would have called it out on the broadcast, if I'm not mistaken. You probably guessed I was on a big bludge. I was saving fuel like a motherfucker. And sorry about that, beep. And after my bunnies losing on the weekend, I needed some good news because I was devastated on Sunday. I mean, my family follow Penrith, and I'm a bunnies mad. I've been bunnies supporter since I was 3 years old. Got bunnies number plates on my car, so I needed a good race. And thank you, God, He gave me one. And I just want to say I'm looking forward to watching it because that was a masterclass, except for James. And James is on planet Pluto, right? But I'm a normal, average human being. You know, had he not turned up tonight, I would have won that race, and that's a good field, and I was really happy with that.
That was a good drive, Jamie.
Thank you, boys.
And
I hope you commentated well as well, because Nathan's really been pulling out some beauties, mate. But you've been a bit slow, John. I've been keeping on. You've got to step it up.
Oh, we had a few surprise guests tonight.
Oh, excellent, mate.
Anything
well
is
done.
possible.
Thanks for the broadcast, guys.
And
all good, mate.
And there's a poll that we've got on. We need to know whether you prefer nuggets from KFC or McDonald's.
McDonald's, man.
Oh,
McDonald's because of the sweet and sour sauce. But if it came to burgers, a chicken fillet burger with a slice of cheese on the burger, 50 cents more, best burger you'll ever eat, mate.
Yeah, look, I did keep myself refrained, and I didn't go down the burger path. I purely left it for nuggets, but now you've opened up a whole nother can of worms.
I'll tell you a funny story quickly. When I was a young fella, I was a crew trainer at McDonald's. That's where I got my management training. That's all I ever got right there. I was like 15 or 16. And one day, Jamie McNugget, they used to call me, right? Swiped about 9, right, in my apron, and I didn't think anyone saw me. And I got pulled in by the boss, and he said, "Mate, what's in your apron?" And I said, 9 McNuggets. And he goes, "Was there 9? I said, "Yeah, I got 9 in there." He goes, "Mate, you know what's going to happen?" And I said, "Yep, I know what's going to happen." He goes, "I'd normally sack you, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on overnights, so you can work from midnight till 6 a.m. for the next 10 weeks." And I was like, "Oh, no!" Because at that age, all you want to do is go out with your friends, right, in the weekend. And it was a good lesson. He should have sacked me, but he liked me, and so I was Jamie McNugget forevermore in Penrith. So I had to move out of the joint.
Might be a new nickname on the stream coming up in the upcoming weeks.
By the People's Champion, arsehole. Like, I've got that many nicknames already. I can't keep up.
So where are we going to give a shout out to, Jamie?
Yeah, mate, I want to give a big shout out to Christian Smart for working on the setup with me last night. I think we produced an awesome setup that was so consistent over the race. Really good. Obviously, my sponsors, Western Motor Group, Too Easy Finance. Big shout out to Harrop and the boys over there. And yeah, thank you to Ben and you guys for the broadcast. And I'm loving this East Coast Series. It's a lot of fun. I love the long races.
It's been very entertaining to watch and very entertaining to call. So
good lads. All right, I'm going to go and serve up Barbie now.
Yep, and we'll bring up
good mate.
Blake.
Good race.
Thanks, boys.
Blakey Warboys, third tonight, mate.
Yeah, hello, boys.
How'd you find that one?
Yeah, pretty good. Made a couple of little errors in the pit stop where Jamie was able to capitalise and make a good gap, which I couldn't close up. But other than that, felt like I ran a pretty clean race. No catching Scott. He's just on a different level. Right. But he's who we need in this series to take us all to that next level and line off.
Yeah, it was pretty much a masterclass. He worked his way up to 6th, so technically he's won the hard charger tonight.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah, I never thought of that. He did too. Well done, guys.
Yeah, he certainly overtook a lot of cars.
Yes.
He didn't overtake us, young fella. So
We'll
put that on our resumes.
Yeah, that was one of my goals. Don't get lapped by James.
Mine too, mate.
No, it is great to have James here. It'd be nice. Big shout out to everyone else watching from the bigger teams. It'd be nice to have someone to come and take him on.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think having those next tier guys, that race the front of Scops and stuff, will just take the series to a whole new level and help us all sort of develop that bit more, I think.
And here's a challenge for all those boys in that bigger team. Do you reckon you can lap the field? Come and give it a go. We have the perfect situation.
Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to, Blake?
So,
don't say
challenge
yes,
has been put out, lads.
Jesus. WK&P Sim Sports, as always, great bunch of guys to race with. Wodonga Karts and Parts, WK&P Race Engines, LGK Karts Australia, Kinetic Industries, Kinetic Motorsport, and Dirty Pig Clothing. Also the Benny and Richie in race control. No, Richie had a bit of an issue with his wheel tonight, so he couldn't drive the safety car. But they put in a lot of work behind the scenes, so yeah, thanks to them as well.
Thanks, Blake. So as everyone knows, next week we have a week off as we build up for the final run of the calendar of the series. And we come back on October 19th for Nuremberg GP.
So everyone's going to be itching to get behind the seat there, and I'm sure all of our viewers are going to be itching to watch the stream, having that extra week off. So it'll be fantastic. It will, Johnny.
Of course, for Nuremberg, I'd be expecting these guys to be driving the Nordschleife.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
It'd be very interesting. 59 laps around there.
Yeah, we'd need a few more people to be a part of our pit report crew, but I reckon we could manage.
Yes, so if you're watching, don't forget to come back on October 19th. We've got 59 laps around the Nuremberg GP circuit, a 300-kilometre race, so we've got one of our longer races, and it's the start of the final block of 5 before we have another week off and go and do the Bathurst 500 on Sunday, the 28th of November. So stay tuned, keep an eye out, and we'll see you all again soon. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good one, everyone.